So good participants. I think we have almost 50 people over here. Thanks everyone. And Analytic Vidyalaya and my friend. So it's a good opportunity for me to connect with you guys again. So here the next 60 minutes we are going to discuss about the BigQuery ML. Okay. So actually talking about this one, it is really the vast area. I mean, like, if you take any piece of work in our the data aspects, even not only the data aspects is in IT industry or anything, it's ocean, right? So in the given timeline, so I'll try to build up the as much as possible content which is required, and definitely you have some takeaway on this session after 60 minutes. I'm sure about that. So without further delay, let me move on. So my friend actually has given good introduction about myself. So I think so. I don't want to like reiterate the same. So without a further delay, we'll go into that. So before I get into that, the specific the journey with like the short the thing like what we are focused on this today, that is nothing but our BigQuery ML, right? So before we talk that, so I want to take you through a small journey about like what exactly the GCP basically. So most of the people, if you're aware of that, that's well and good. If you guys are new to the platform, the cloud platform, we used to say, so we have so many cloud platform available, right? So it could be Azure, AWS, and GCP. Shortly, we used to call us a sweet name the Google. These three guys actually the dominating the recent the all digital transformation program. So that actually we are moving all the data into the cloud, and ultimately like each these big giants are like doing the competition, and they're coming up with the lot of benefits to the end users, and the flexibility for the developers like us, so to demonstrating the digital transformation in the cloud. So with respect to the Google cloud platform, as you know that always the Google is different from the other champions. Why? Because so without that, nowadays 99.99% we are having like what the Google what is that, like we have a browser, and if you want to search anything, so the search engine perspective, the Google is like they're doing great job. The same way with respect to the Google platform, they have the minimal amount of components, I mean comparing with the Azure and AWS, but they're doing a great job because the effectiveness and the cost effective and highly scalable, these things actually is bringing them together, and they're doing a lot of things. And again, there has like the interconnection between inter collaboration between the other the cloud, like the, as I mentioned, Azure and AWS. So they're also like they're doing very important the way of like interacting with the data, pushing the data from the different cloud, and doing that data analytics, so many things. So you guys know like this one, right? The Google Analytics, that is actually the really like amazing stuff. So if you guys get a chance, please go through that. So why I'm telling, with respect to the other analytics, Google Analytics is a pretty much straightforward. Take the data, play around with that, create a chart, everything is very simple. And again here, so we can connect IoT, and we can do a lot of the AI perspective, and it's a serverless concepts we have, so that the cost might be apparently it's reducing that. So our space over here, this one, this is nothing but the big data analytics, and the BigQuery comes under this category. Okay, so because a huge amount of data we are taking into the cloud, Google Cloud, and we can do a lot of things over there. Right. So just we've gone through like the gap around like what exactly the GCP, and there are a lot of components, storage component, demonstration AI component, so many things are there. But the BigQuery, it's playing an excellent job, and there is no replacement in that. So that's a piece of work which attracted me, and we have proposed a lot of the availability of like the how the BigQuery which is helping the customer and all. So we'll try to incorporate that also, like when we're doing like any POC, anything, something like that. That's a very important thing, because the BigQuery, see, if you go with any other cloud computation, that's like the really the cost effective. But now here, this is a cost wise, like I would say better than affordable than other cloud vendors. BigQuery is a data warehouse basically. So they started with storing the data, okay, initial days, and then slowly they started into analyzing the data, and then they moved into the visualize the data in multiple ways. So if you look at this one specific architecture, so this is the normal different layers with respect to the any cloud implementation. Okay, so it could be ingestion and preparation, storage and analysis and ML. So whenever you are moving into the cloud, the data nowadays, so without no doubt in that, like we have to come across all these stages, like so taking the data from the any sources. So it could be a cloud storage, or it could be a Google Sheets, or it could be an external data source or application or API or IoT, whatever it is. And all the data can be like ingested into the BigQuery space. As I mentioned, this is a data warehouse. So data warehouse is like, you know, right, very well. That is actually structured data, right? So it's totally different from the data lake and data warehouse and so many things. So data warehouse, obviously, you know, right, the capacity which is like better than and bigger than normal database, right? So in top of that, the BigQuery, so we can do the storage as well as like, so we can create a multiple queries, as you know, that SQL statement. With the help of that, so we can make that some analysis, and even we can do some ML operations as well. I mean, a machine learning implementation. Okay. So it could be a locker, actually, Google Data Studio, and you can connect with your data to the Power BI, Tableau, ClickView, all other BI intelligence. And then again, so we have the cloud AI platform separately, so we can connect with that. We can go ahead and do a lot of things. So with respect to the BigQuery, it is really affordable and compactable with doing a huge number of data on the cloud. So before going into very detail, so just understand like what is the BigQuery, the feature of BigQuery here. So as I mentioned that it's a multi-cloud functionality. So basically it allows the data to analyze across the multiple cloud platform. So if you have the data, sometime actually there might be to do the analysis. So sometimes, so we can get the data, pull the data from the different cloud providers, and we can do the analysis in BigQuery space, because this is, as I mentioned, like affordable and cost effective, and there are so many options are available than other cloud environment. And same time, it can run the computation on the data right where it's located. So sometime actually, so we can connect the data as an external source. So basically we used to say, what is that? The linked server concepts, right? So by using a linked server concept, so we can give the connections between the external cloud storage, and we can do the analysis, so that the computational costs will be taken care, and the storage will be residing at the foreign cloud platforms. So that's nothing but your Azure and AWS. If you have any other IBM or whatever it is, so we can provide that. And same way, so we can gain the insight of the data with the consistent of experience across the cloud. So that is the big the advantage when you are using with the BigQuery, right? So it's the BigQuery ML. So this one, it's really helping us a lot. Okay, that's fine. So what's main agenda here? So build in ML integration. So that is a very sweet over here. So when you're using that the ML here, the special thing, the user can, I mean, the developer can do the simple SQL statement, and they can build the ML. So hope you guys, actually here we have almost 68 people around, including me and my friend. So hope you guys all know that, like basically if you want to do the machine learning implementation, so there are so many processes we need to come across, and we want to understand. There are a lot of logic, basic understanding of either what is that? Like the implementation is a very challenging one. I think you need to understand, like you have to write the Python code, and in the Python you to understand a lot of the libraries. And then if you're going to do in R programming, so again you have to do so many things with that. And even you can write it in Java as well. But if you people asking me to write in Java, then run away, honestly, because so if you compare it with the other languages, R and the Python, Java is a really challenging one. But nowadays, the Python providing a lot of things, and that's the reason the most of the customers they prefer, they'll go with the Python. And even most of the cloud environment, so the PySpark and Python is like dominating the world in current scenario, right? That's the reason actually the Python demand is going high. And same time, it eliminates the need for understanding the ML specific knowledge and programming skills. But I would say a little bit, but even though I put this specific statement here, so we need some sort of things in ML, but how we are playing with the Python, not like that, right? There are so many challenges in that, but it's a pretty much simple and straightforward. We'll see that a demo so that you can understand very well. And it allows the SQL practitioner to build the ML model using their existing skills. For example, in market, sometimes people want to do, hey, it's already SQL man, I'm working on that already. I'm in Java, already in Salesforce, so many things, all blah blah. So the things that comes up, so I want to understand why this is going to be like I want to do this learning new programming, Ruby, Go. What is that? The Google language is there. I forgot the name suddenly. Right. Again, we have a Ruby and we have Golang. Yes, Golang. There are so many new programmings comes up, but some people are, I don't know, like whether sometimes they may be a laziness or some the time constraints. So whatever it is, so they really they're not able to spend the time and learning the new things. But if you talk about the SQL, definitely the people minimum 5+ year experience. So they have definitely come across the SQL query, definitely. Like without that, like they cannot come across the years of experience. I'm telling this is specifically for those already on the ground, already their hands are dirty. They want to do it in ML, and they can easily jump into the BigQuery ML, and then you can do that. So let's show that one so that you can understand it. So here's a small picture. So if you're doing anything in our like Java or Python coding, so we have to do a lot of stuff over here, like taking the raw data and doing the feature engineering and doing the prediction, learning the set and building the model. So it's take many hours because we have to import the data set and play around with that. And sometimes if the local not supported, then you have to go with the GoLab, or else like the computation speed you want to increase, then you have to use some specific the ML environment in AWS or else in Azure, so that we need to use so many things. But when I'm using the BigQuery ML, so everything like it's going very fast. Okay, but again the data, it's a big measure, so you can challenge me that as well, but there is a chances of that. But the way of implementing it's really a straightforward, and still the BigQuery ML is growing phenomenally, right? Apart from that, actually there are other features, just I want to highlight that, and then we can move on to the session. So BigQuery BI engine, this is an in-memory engine for the solution analysis, and it gives like the high concurrency and response time than any other environment. So if you could go with as usual your what is that, the your SQL, I mean sorry, Azure data warehouse, and also you can store the data. So you need to connect with the SQL and you can play around with that, or else like you need to connect with the Databricks, or else it's going to be a SageMaker in the case of AWS. So push like storing the data in S3 or else Redshift, so many things, right? And the same way, the BigQuery comes along with the SQL interface, so that you can really play around with that with easy way of that. The same way, and there are other tools you easily can connect, interact with like a Locker and Tableau, Power BI, as I mentioned earlier. And again, we have that BigQuery GI system, and it's really helping us a lot. So there are other things, I don't want to go in detail on that. And automated data transferring services, this is very important, because when we are migrating the data from the on-premises in the cloud or one cloud to another cloud, So these specific the automated the data transfer services will helping like without less coding and scheduling with a simple scheduling job. So these are the main major things with respect to our BigQuery. So this is specific a simple architecture diagram, how the data warehouse we are implementing. So because without completing this one, we cannot execute our YAML things. That's a very important thing. That's the reason actually I'm going through all these things to you guys. So it could be a real events and could be a batch process and loading into the cloud. And then the parallel data processing, we can go ahead with that. And we can have that the specific, the BigQuery. So it's going to be like building a lot of pipelines, steaming pipeline, batching pipeline, and it's fed into our batch query environment. There's analytics, and on top of that, so we can make that interactive data exploratory analysis. We can do it by using Cloud Data Lab, and you can do that like you can connect with the BI tools, and you can create like a Google Sheets on the cloud, and you can share the output to the external interested consumers. All right. So how and what special in BigQuery ML? That is the question here. Correct? Yeah. So there are two friends. They're talking about so how they can work with the ML project. So the guy, the Paul, he's learned what's that? The Python language, and he learned the ML aspects, the basics, and he started writing the code in Jupyter notebook, and he started working on the project, and he's challenging and he's sharing the information with his friend David. He's telling, hey David, I know the Python language, so I have learned ML aspects very easily and going to work on ML project. He is really proud on that one. He is telling like without programming language, so he is telling like he cannot, no one cannot do the ML. He is telling that. But at the same time, so my friend David is telling he is actually a SQL guy, many years with a SQL. He can write a multiple query and the very complex query by using a SQL. Like it could be like a MySQL or SQL Server or Oracle, whatever it is. He is a gig in the SQL. But with respect to the programming language, he didn't get a chance and he didn't like work on that one. So that he's a little worry about that, how he's going to jump into the ML space. So he's telling, hey, I have been many years in SQL, but the learning Python language is difficult and no time and recollect the basics of the programming language. Obviously, right? So people in SQL, they may not get the chances to write the front-end tools liking the simple queries, simple programming idea, everything, right? The logic, building those things, etc. But at the same time, he's telling, like, I'm very much interested to learn the ML concept and want to work on this. But how come I can get into the ML project without knowing the Python and R and Java? He's chilling like his friend Paul is saying, no, man. So you cannot do that. So this is actually the conversation. It's happened like even in my experience. So the many people, they are well versed in SQL, but they are struggling to get into the ML project, and they'll move away from that. So I used to say them, hey guys, it's not a big deal. So definitely you can do that. So please come with me. I can explain with you guys. So even actually, even in my own experience, I've done at least minimum 10 to 15 people. Those are familiar with the SQL and they're not able to pick up with the programming language. I asked them to go and just explore the big data, BigQuery ML, and they're now in the projects. Because sometimes the customer, they want to implement specifically BigQuery ML. There might be a chances for even for me, actually, there is a demand for, hey, like BigQuery, have you implemented BigQuery things? Yeah, I've implemented that. So how will you implement that? Then I can explain that. Have you implemented BigQuery ML? Yes, it's possible. How it is possible? So because if you know the SQL, it's a straight hit. That's it. No worry about that. Okay. So, and he's telling, no, impossible, David. And he's like thinking like he's a master in ML. He only can survey with since he's know the language, he learned the Python, etc. And my friend coming into the machine learning process to understand that. This is actually the machine learning process. Hope you know that, guys. So here, the stage wise, we can have the 5 different stages in ML, as you know that. If you guys are know very well, basically, that's fine. Or else, this is basically we have a 5 major steps with respect to any ML process. So a collection of data from the various sources. It could be internal, it could be external, whatever it is, right? And same time, after getting the data, we have to do the data cleaning and feature engineering. Most of the time, we people are like engaging with all this activity because we want to prepare the golden data set, right? So without those things, so we cannot survey, because even there is a 2 different track, guys. That's we want to understand that. So when you're doing any kind of the analytics on the cloud, that's going to be analytic one track and advanced analytics another track. In analytics track, we need to do a lot of things. We need to apply data wrangling, data cleaning, data remediation, so many things we need to do. And then again, I think we need to share those things into building the BI, I mean like visualization chart and all, etc. for to the visualization engineers. So they can pick up that table, whatever, like it could be like a CSV format, or it could be like Pocket format, or it could be like it setting in somewhere in with SQL, or it could be data warehouse somewhere like as a table or dimensions, measures, so many things. But the other track, that's nothing but our advanced analytics we used to call, that is nothing but your ML implementation. So that we need to do a lot of feature engineering. So the data cleaning and feature engineering, it's going to be like additional responsibilities when you are going with the when you are going with ML implementation or AI implementation, whatever it is. So we have to put on most of the time to do all the things, further fine tuning the data, and top of like after these like all the things, because the value of the prediction, the data, it's really very important, because we need to give the justification to our the stakeholders and customers. That's very important. And same time, this third stage is going to be a model building for selecting the right algorithm and so many things. That is a very tedious job. We need to take care of that, building the model and splitting the data set, etc., etc. And then again, we need to go for the data evaluating the model. And here as well, there is one step further. It's like one step like in between the 3 and 4. That's going to be a hyperparameter tuning to make your model sustainable. That's a very important thing, right? After that, we are going to deploy that model on the deployment production, right? So to come across all these spaces, if you are familiar with, these are the major libraries which were supporting to demonstrate all these steps. That comes under Python. So my friend David is really worried about that. Oh my God. So I need to find out like a NumPy, SciPy, Pandas, Scikit-learn, and Matplotlib, Keras, TensorFlow, Scikit-learn, PyTorch, Scarpy, beautiful soap, so many things. It's like spinning out that. I don't know how I'm going to do that one, right? He said, okay, so I'm not fit for like doing any ML. He's worried about that, because these many steps, how he can do that, right? Selecting statement is fine, but he want to do all these things, demonstration by using like the simple, what he has the knowledge, minimum knowledge. That's what he is thinking. Let's see the story rest. Come on. So after all those things in machine learning, he come to know that theoretically, I think it's a supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement. So forget about reinforcement learning at this moment. Okay. So supervised learning and unsupervised learning. So if you want to implement these both major stuff, the basic thing, I want to come across all these 5 steps. So my friend David is really worried about that. He's telling like, hey, all possible only through the programming language. It seems Paul is correct. He come to that conclusion. So his situation is really bad. So you don't know what to do. These kind of people, many people in industries, actually, they are interested to come to that ML industry because the demand is huge, huge, huge. The next, I can say that 10 to 15 years, the phase might be changed, but the demand going to be there with respect to of any domain. If you can ask me, hey, Shanta, this specific domain can support ML, it required ML. Yes, I can say. If you're going to make a cup of tea in a tea shop, or if you're going to launch the rocket to the satellite, launching the satellite. So if you have the data, you can do the lot of things as a basic thing, a prediction and forecasting things if you have the data in your hand. That I can say. Okay. So this is a situation for my friend David. So let's see how things going. So he's finally telling, I knew only the code, right? Hope you guys know the code. Code is nothing but what? Create, read, update. All many years, my friend David, he has done a creating the table, creating a procedure, reading the file, selecting the data and updating the data, deleting the data. So he has done just create, read, update, delete. All these. He is thinking how in ML machine learning the code will help. These situations was very bad, but you want to get into where as a ML engineer. So the same time, the BigQuery ML from the Google, they're coming up with, like we have discussed here, serverless, highly scalable and cost effective cloud data warehouse designing help you make information quickly decision, all the things, blah, 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 blah. We have discussed the very first slide. And slide 5 and 6, we have discussed about what BigQuery offers. When you come into the machine learning, the BigQuery platform provides the ML capability on top of the data that is being stored in the big data query using the standard SQL syntax. You got it, right? So this is a very, very important point, guys. Okay, so BigQuery platform provides ML capability on top of the data that is being stored in the BigQuery. So BigQuery is, you can store the data, right? Basically it's a data warehouse, right? So in the case, BigQuery using a standard SQL syntax. Now I can shout loudly saying that, hey, David, where are you? Yes, you can do ML using SQL. Come on. I'm giving opportunity for my friend David because he was really worried about that. He is interested. So guys, I'm telling you, if you want to learn something, forget about how it's complex. Don't think about the complexity. Just think about, like, if you have an interest, you can crack anything. You can make anything. That's very important. Okay. Forget about all these ML, anything. In even your life, day to day, if it is really challenging anything, sit and make that some bit and pieces, slice and dices, understand that and digest that and rebuild that. You are the winner, right? So we are calling our friend, right? So here, the BigQuery ML supports and running ML model using simple SQL query, which is basically bridge that gap the data analysis and data scientist. Is a very simple and directly we can write out. And BigQuery ML supports the various types of ML model, as you know that. Linear regression, logistics, multi-class logistics regression, and k-means cluster, and etc. So if you look at this diagram, simple way, there is historical data, there is a historical right answers, a supervised learning. So if you want, like, already something decision already there, so you want to understand, like, what's the forecast, so you can do that. Sometime we don't have that, so we need to label that and we need to understand that. That is nothing but what? Unsupervised learning. So when you come across with like a supervised learning, I want to forecast a number that is going to be like a future sales, so perspective, so we can do the things, try the linear regression. And this is just guidance to you guys. And same time, if you want to do any classification, either you can do with the binary, I think a no or no go, or buy or no buy, or yes or no, or will happen or not happen. So whatever it is. And at the same time, we have the multi-class high, medium, low risk. So it's going to become more than 2 options if you want to have the decision. So we can go with this multi-class classification. So try the logistic regression with the multiple class options. So that's so many things. And I want to recommend something. Yes, you can do that recommendation, and we can try for like a factorization of metrics so that you can find all the things. This is a very high level the chart flow chart, so how the things are going around. This is not only the common for the BigQuery ML, this is applicable common for any ML implementation. Okay, good. So if you look at that, my BigQuery ML flow, again, this is going to be like the streaming or batching data and make available in your the BigQuery warehouse, right? So easily you can upload, you can store the data in BigQuery because it's providing that the provision of storing the data, and you can do the data processing. So you can write a lot of queries and you can cleaning up that, right? So you have, if you know the current, so you can do whatever it is you want, right? And you can export the data, and you want to export the data means like you are going to create the model and then train the ML model like the Python and this one, and deploy your model. So this is like the existing flow, the same pattern we are going to implement these things in our using a BigQuery ML, right? So here it is the core crux. So what exactly, how we are doing the BigQuery ML, right, ETL, that is extracting, transformation, loading into the BigQuery. So it's going to be like a public data source, make available in our BigQuery environment. So it could be like any data set or your own data set, or like pulling the data from any other sources. And so you can process the features, like exploring what is available by using your select statement and joining them. So you can create two different tables for test and train. I'll show that the code so that you can use when you get time. And this is the one very important step here, guys. See here. I think if you are familiar with the SQL table creation, right? Right? DML, DDL, DCL. Without that, definitely you come across this situation, because even the 10th standard as well, we have the people are doing the kids, I mean like 10th standard student, he is also like writing a simple DML statement, DDL statement, and DCL statement. Data manipulation language, data definition language, data control language. But here we can use almost most of the things if you keep on exploring that, right? So since it's like introduction section, so I can give like the essence of that, so you can taste it. It's a kind of teaser. So just taste it and jump into that. You can crack that. So how used to create a table in SQL Server? Create table name, and open the bracket, right? You have to mention what are the columns you need and type, comma, column name, type, and goes on like that. And if you want to do the other way of round, like giving primary key, foreign key, that are like high level things. I don't want to go into that. That is the way here you are going to create model name, open the bracket, right? Options with that, model type is equal to logistic rig. Input label code is equal to which table, which column, which feature you are going to make it as that one, as then you can start your statement. Model is ready. I don't want to import the things. I want to do other things, analysis you can do. But if I have in my hands, what? I have the knowledge of the SQL. I know what model I want to create and what is my objective of like, what is the data, where is the data set. So if I have those things, so straight away I can do that, right? And second step, look at this one. So select ROC underscore AUC and accuracy, precision, recall. Guys, you want to understand all these things. Basically, I think if you already know this specific basic stuff, that's what actually I have a separate slide. So what it is required for this one. These are things actually you need that. Okay, so that's you need that. So you are going to evaluate the model which you have created, the step 3. Once you executed, the model is evaluated, you can you can understand like your all precision, recall, accuracy, and ROC curve, everything we can understand that. And what is the next step? Select asterisk from your model name dot predict, right? Model dot and the classification and close the all the syntax and enter. You can predict your model. So create model, model evaluate, model predict, job done. But people might think, hey, I'm using Python. I used to write a lot of code. Yes, you can. If you want to reach the destination, you shouldn't think about the way only the one transportation methodology, correct? Right? So if I'm asking you like, hey, I want to go to from Chennai to Bangalore, or Chennai to Hyderabad, or Chennai to London, or I want to go anywhere in the across the world in the geography. So there are different mode of transportation, right? So you can take the roadway to reach the Bangalore, or else you can take like the flight, right? Or else you can take the train. So there's option. If you want to go to overseas, you can take the like what ship. So the way is like the truly the way like there are options are available. That's the reason actually I like very impressed with this specific the big data BigQuery ML when I come across a few years back. So I was very much interested, and even sometimes I recommend my customers saying that hey, we want to use this one, even though they are residing with that major goal with the Azure. So, but why you want to do that? So simplicity and easy of work. There are also plus or minuses there, but I understood. But on top of that, this is a very, very important and easy way to do that. And like my friend David, as I explained, right? So there are so many people on the on the industries, so they can definitely jump in and do this one. Got it. So if you're going to do this specific, these are the simple the syntax I've given. See, model creation, create or replace model. I have to mention my data set and model name. Okay, you need to give model option. What are the options I can give? I can give here, and future information. So if you want to understand like what are the features of the model, so how you used to do that in see the people already in the ML domain. So if you want to understand like the what are the information description, right? So by using a description, you can give the specific the future model. But one important thing, when you're doing the Python or R programming way, when you're building that one, initially we'll do all this feature engineering work, all this blah blah blah, and finally we'll create a model, and then we'll like before that we'll split that the data as a two different sets, training and test, and then we'll apply the model. But when you're using the BigQuery ML, the things are like upside down. Create the model, and on top of that, do the select statement, play around with that. Because when you guys are familiar with this DCL, DML, DDL and all, you ought to create a table and insert the data and select the data, and you can apply n number of the select statement, n number of complex queries you can execute, and you can go through that, right? That is an important thing. So here the simple statement, actually it talks about the select the different category, the model weights, the category and weight syntax. So directly you can run this query, you can get that information, right? So this is the simple demo. Let me go to my, so again, so you can play around with that. So you can create your Google account, and you have to provide your credit card details or debit card details to log into that and work on this one. So here we have our environment. Okay, so it's very pretty much simple, straightforward. So this is a simple project I have created. So you can create a simple project. Okay, and then once a project created, so you have that specific ID, and if you want to know the details about this one, so you can so this is my project name. Okay, So I'm really like, I couldn't explain all these. These are actually available. What is that like the menus, so that what we can do, like just log in and you can explain very easily. Okay. So due to the time constraint, I couldn't like explain each and everything, but I love to do that, but no other go. So what I did, I uploaded my Excel. This is a CSV file. Easy way to add the data, right? Add data method. I mean, like, but when you click on this one, so you can upload as very simple. Okay. So let's say here, okay. So it's a simple way to upload the files. So if you guys are familiar, I hope you guys are familiar with all those things. So directly you can do that. So this is my project, and this is my the data set. Okay, I have created, and I mean like that my CSV file uploaded here. So how I got this model after I executed my statement over here. Okay, so just say create or replace the model. This is my project name and the model name. I mean like my data set name, and I'm giving my model name, and I'm providing these all many things, and what column I'm going to give as my prediction one claim. Okay, and select from as it's from this project as this one. So just I'm mentioning all this information, and here I'm mentioning my my CSV file or else my data set name. Okay, so once I give this one, so ultimately I'll get this the model. So this is the model I have received after executed. So model is ready, and then what I'm doing with this is the one I created model, and in editor 2. So I'm just evaluating. So these are the evaluation model at the value I'm getting. Okay, this is just now executed before this session. Look at here. So these things actually, when you are working with the Python code and all, these are very tedious job, I would say. I become lazy nowadays because actually, see, I know the SQL statement. Straight away select asterisks from my ML.evaluate, and I'm providing the path of the model and select asterisk from that, and what is a table. So here, guys, actually playing around with the table only directly. What is the data set I created? So it will directly give all this information. Look at here, the precision, recall, accuracy, F1 score, and loss, etc., etc. All the information we can extract by using that. So if you want, you can highlight what exactly you want. You can highlight that, right? Select column name. Then from the other information, you can get that one. All right. So this is one, the evaluation. And the other one is a prediction. So here the prediction is the predicted one and labeled. Okay, it's created, and I'm doing this. It's a claim one. See here, the column automatically created. And we have, and I would say when you're doing with the Python coding and all, so you will get the output as a like output of something. But if you want to update those information into your data set, you have to write the separate procedure, and you need to update that Excel sheet. Then, I mean, Excel sheet or CSV file or table, whatever it is. After that, you need to take that table and you want to extract that specific information. You want to showcase in the through the application as a visualization, whatever you want. But when you're using a simple select statement, we are using a BigQuery ML. That's it. Your job is done. So if you expose this specific thing, the visualization engineers tap this one, take the data, and you can create any kind of visualization, right? And same time, let me show the other one. This is just a select asterisk from just now we put it up, and see here, we have all this information, right? Precision recall, how it is performing, and precision recall curve, ROC curve, how it is, right? So if you want to do this specific thing in your Python or R programming, you have to write the code, you have to hit the button to run, right? And you want to make that, and confusion matrix, you got it, right? And if you want to know the schema, this is nothing but description. So you can understand this one. And this is actually the training detail, right? So it may be vary, but the main thing actually evaluation. Got it? So These are the major thing. We can like a very quick, rapid fire way we can explain, so we can get an idea. Okay, so this is the one I said, like my actual data set, and executed my regression model. Very simple way, right? Nothing more than that. And there are many things are there you can explore. And I'm evaluating that whether it's a good or bad, right? Based on my ML processing. And then I'm predicting, I'm getting this one predicted value, and I got these values. So you can explore that one. And one more thing, that where is test and train is missing, right? I have a time, so that's the reason actually I added this one. So it will be benefit for everyone. That's the reason. So when we are dealing with the Python code or any the other way around, like implementing ML, so we have to split the data set as a 25-75 per proposition. You know, right? Split 0.3, comma, randomness. We have some syntax over there in Python. The same way here, how we can do? Simple. Make it a two different table. One is going to be a train, one is another going to be a test. Confusion done. Here actually I made it in a simple way by between the row ID of some column between like 1 to 150, 151 to 300. But you can way like creating a random way, like you can generate that in one table, and what which is not available in the table A, we can make it in a table 2, so that you have two portions of test and train. You can play around with the data set, and you can find out how it is working. After that, you can deploy the which one is better, you can apply on your top, right? So these things actually already we discussed in my demo, right? So finally, my friend David is really happy, because now he can go and get the opportunities around in ML, since he know BigQuery. Basically, he know the SQL. He is a gig in SQL, so he can do whatever he want. So he also getting the opportunity. The same way, those people are actually in the ground already. They know the SQL things, so they can jump into this BigQuery ML. They can play around with that. Okay, game is not end here. What is that? BigQuery ML. What else required? Yes, of course. The basic understanding of ML discipline is required, and with the help of SQL, the data analysts or data like the SQL developers can enter into the machine learning world. That's very important. So I'm advising my friend David. Hey David, not only for just understanding like a select statement, create statement. Don't think yourself, hey, I know I can enter into the ML world. Not just that. So you should understand the basic of ML discipline very in depth, so you can play around with that, and you can go ahead and grab your opportunities in this digital world. So now I'm concluding here. So let me go to the chat. People are given so many options. Thank you for the session. It gives a very good exposure of big data. Agree. Okay. So I think 7 minutes before, yes, my friend Baby Indra. Okay. Let me check the other LinkedIn profile speaker. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Read. Okay. Available. So guys, okay. Shanthababu. Yes, we can. Oh my God. Right, upcoming data hours. Okay, this is an extra announcement. Good. Go along. Yeah, somebody's helping me, so I stuck that. That's fine. Recording. Okay. Will be presentation be shared? Yeah, I'll try to share my presentation over here about this Mr. Rohit. So SQL is also enough to execute the ML. Yeah, of course, Fancy. So we can execute that. No worry about that. So that's what. On top of that, if you know the basics of like the discipline of ML, if you know the SQL, that's it. But you have to practice on that. So because the case by case use cases you have to do, then it will be really useful for you. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So Shantakumar helped me algorithm, but we need to know the ML algorithm to execute the project. Yeah, of course, like what are the algorithm, what is the necessity, and want to understand something, a feature engineer, you begin the screen. So all those things, if you know, definitely you can go ahead. Okay, that's good thing. And thank you for the session. Excellent. So there is just one query. Is there a cost difference between the BigQuery ML and the customized implementation? Yeah, actually the customized implementation, it's like, so there are so many things. So the BigQuery ML is not the landing area. So we have so many things on top of that. Okay. Yeah, is the way to add the more evaluation. Yeah, change optimization. Yeah, of course, there are so many things are available. There are so many things are available. Of course, there are so many things are available, guys. That's what I said. This is just introduction. So to just make sure that be clear about what the expectation, as the basic expectation for BigQuery ML perspective. Okay, that's good thing. Yeah, I think almost so we are done. So we have 1 more minute, and here is my article with respect to the acid and base for the database property in Analytics Vidyalia. So when you guys get the time, please go and go through this topic. This is really help you guys for understanding what is the essence of acid and base. And there are there's so many articles over there. And I would say the great things the Analytic Vidyalia is doing for giving opportunity for the lot of people across the globe to understand so many things. Okay, so is there going to more advanced talk on this topic? Yeah, if time permits, definitely I can do that. So let me think about that. So since it's going to be Christmas time, I need to plan for that as well. So probably like next year, so we can have the series of the BigQuery ML perspective. So I can take definitely, John C. No worry about that. Even I'm interested on that. Okay, guys. So my friend, I'm done. So any questions so far? Again, my organization uses Snowflake. We can fetch. Yeah, of course, definitely. It doesn't matter, Abhishek. Abhishek, it's you can do so many things. No issues on that. It doesn't matter. Like I have the data wherever in the world. It's which format. I'll pick it up and I can do that. So Kavi Arasan, sir, we can analyze the survey data also. Of course, that's what I said. Like even if it is going to be like making a tea shop, like how many tea is going on? If it's going to be a normal tea is going, a specialty or ginger tea, or what is going like during the time, so we can do the prediction, and then the tea shop owner can make the revenue out of it. So based on making the tea, and same time, actually, what kind of the rocket actually, I mean, like the satellite we are going to launch. So what is the parameters need to successful launching then from the history? So you can do that way by using that. So it's anything. If you have the data, you can play around with anything. It's going to be irrespective of BigQuery ML or normal ML, anything. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Thanks for your time and joining this time. So plus 60 minutes, we have had a wonderful time, I believe. So thanks for your support, Analytics Vidyalia, my friend. So we can connect in another session in very shortly.